All right, so good afternoon, everyone, and well, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, depending on where in the world you're calling in from. But welcome to my masterclass from Belly Fat to Radiant Health, and our call today is going to be half an hour long. During the call, I'm going to just jam-pack it with as much information as possible. I'm also going to be sharing with you a little bit of information about myself, how I got started with health, why I'm so excited about health and healing. And then I'm also going to share with you also a program that I'll be offering called From Radiant Health, From Belly Fat to Radiant Health. So that's what today we'll cover. I want this call to be really interactive, so feel free to ask me as many questions as possible. And if there's any point, any time that you have any thing you want to chime in, feel free, because I want us to have fun. I want us to enjoy this process. So if you agree, I'm not seeing many faces because most people's cameras are off, but I'll just give me a high five if you agree with that, and then we'll go from there. Let me change the view here. 1 second. Okay, great. So everyone knows my name. I'm Merle Tracy Galloway, and the way I got into health was because I went through a health crisis. I actually developed a really severe case of eczema, which was some really ugly scaly rashes all over my skin. And at the time, I went to different doctors, but none of the doctors I went to could help. And because I was so frustrated with not being helped with the traditional medicine, I actually turned to alternative medicine. So I took some time out and I went to the Anwigmo Institute, which is a health institute in Puerto Rico. I was there for about 3 weeks, and during that time, my skin healed up and I felt like a completely different woman. I felt completely radiant. My skin was healed, and I almost became an evangelist for health and healing because I wanted everybody to feel as healthy as I did. I wanted everybody to realize the power and the potency of foods and the body's natural ability to heal. And also, I also took some time later on and just studied as much as I could about health and healing, but I also went to the Hippocrates Institute in Florida and did some studies and worked there as well. But also going through that process also helped me realize the power of living our lives more naturally, because we veer from living our lives naturally and we sometimes tend to follow the unnatural path, meaning we eat things that are not aligned with nature. Our bodies, in terms of our sleep patterns and things we consume, the way we think is not aligned to a natural way of doing things. And so what I want to do is share just some different ways during this call that would not only just help you to release your belly fat, but also just help you to adopt some habits and incorporate some tips that would help you to just be a little bit more vibrant and just have a different and healthier way of being. So if everybody is in agreement with that, just give me a thumbs up or just give me a quick raise of your hand. So is everybody good? Great. Everybody raise their hand. Awesome. So one of the things that we do that causes our belly to protrude is that our colon doesn't work properly. So we consume foods that our bodies can't process. So our bodies don't know how to process it. For instance, a lot of processed foods are injected with things like excess sugar. A lot of things are genetically modified. And by consuming genetically modified foods, our bodies don't know how to process it. Our bodies don't know how to deal with it. And that's one of the reasons why we store fat around our bodies, because our colon acts as a plumbing system. And if our plumbing system isn't working well, then it causes, imagine a house, and if the house's plumbing system isn't working well, then it causes a lot of problems in the house starts to smell. And consider our body as a house. And if it's not working well, then we develop things like headaches, we get rashes on our skin, we get heartburn, we get irritable bowel syndrome, the whole list goes on. And so what I'd like to do is help you to get your colon to work properly. And one of the things you can do to get your colon to work properly is eat foods like that are high in fiber. One of those that I would recommend would be, I like cilantro. Cilantro, we call it ramgoat bush here in Montserrat, but also the cilantro itself, it's really high in potassium, and it also helps in terms of getting things out of your system. So is everybody familiar with cilantro? Okay, great. You could also add that to your smoothies. You could add that to your cooking. You could add that to your soups and salads. And I'll also send recipes during the program that I'm offering. I'll send recipes that include those type of foods. Another food I would recommend is one of my favorites, which is moringa. And if anyone's familiar with moringa, you could just chime in and tell me what you know about moringa, and if you've had an experience with, someone's asking about coriander. Coriander is good. Coriander is good as well. Is everybody familiar with moringa? If you're not, moringa grows in a lot of the tropical countries like Montserrat in Africa and India. But moringa has in over 120 different vitamins and minerals. When you use it, it actually, you're getting actual good nutrients. And so it helps to keep you full. It helps to clear your colon out. It has in about 25 times the amount of potassium as banana does. It's really high in vitamin A. It's high in iron. It helps to help your colon in terms of cleansing that. If you have problems in terms of your fertility, it actually helps. It actually helps in terms of making you more fertile. The only thing though, in terms of using moringa, you don't want to use it after your second trimester because of the nutrients you're getting. It actually might make your baby so big that you may have problems. You may have difficulty passing it through a vaginal birth. So I know that's an aside, but just in case anybody here wants to have a baby and you're looking at different ways of being fertile, you could try using moringa. Does anybody have any questions or comments so far? So yeah, one of the great. One of the things as well is a lot of times we think we're hungry, but we actually are not hungry. So there are different types of hunger. One of the type of hungers could be that we're just dehydrated. And so if our bodies are not hydrated enough, then it causes us to feel hungry. So one of the tips that I'm going to recommend is I'd like you to drink water, but I want you to develop really good habits. So one of the habits I want you to start doing is get a glass of water and put it by your bedside. And in the morning, I want you to drink it first thing in the morning. And by drinking it first thing in the morning, one, it helps to flush out toxins. But in addition to that, what it does, it helps to hydrate your body as well. And we don't realize the amount of work that our bodies are doing in terms of healing overnight. Also too, in terms of the amount of water that we should be consuming, you actually only need to consume about half of your body's weight in ounces in water. So say for instance, like me, I'm 130 pounds. So I only need to consume 130 divided by 2, which is 65 ounces. So I only need to consume about 65 ounces of water a day. Also too, a lot of the foods that I'd like you to start consuming, which I'll also send in terms of recipes when we start the program, is one of the things I'd like to do is also just consume more water, and I'll also send you foods that are high in water, like watermelons, celeries, root vegetables, so that you could continue your water consumption, but you're getting it from a natural source. You could also get structured water from juicing. So I'm a big proponent of juicing because juicing actually gives us a really high concentrated amount of vitamins and nutrients without having to consume so many fruits and vegetables at once. Does that make sense? Is anybody having any questions or concerns so far? Yes? We're doing good? Okay, great. So yeah, in terms of juicing, if I'll send you some juicing recipes, but if you juice, you're getting a lot of nutrients, and when you drink it, it's actually going directly to your bloodstream. Similar to what would happen if you drank alcohol, but this is the good stuff instead of, alcohol, which would have side effects which may not be as positive. Um, Another thing that I would recommend as well is that we don't realize how increased stress causes our bodies to maintain and gain weight. So stress causes something that's called cortisol, and cortisol, especially in women, causes a lot of weight gain. So one of the things I'd like us to do is, and which we'll do more when we do the modules, is different ways to reduce your stress levels. And one of the tips I'm going to leave with you, one of the things I'm going to recommend that you do as well, is have a nice rested sleep. And so what I'd like you to do is, like, these things here, our phones, we're so addicted to our phones. And a lot of us sleep with our phones next to our beds. A lot of us sleep with our phones with all the little messages beeping throughout the night. And that actually interrupts our sleep and causes, it actually causes stress because our mind doesn't really get a full night's proper uninterrupted rest. And so one tip I'd recommend is that at night you turn your phone on airplane mode, and you don't put it next to the bed. You actually put it in the bathroom or in the closet. And then if you use the phone for your alarm, one, it'll make you get up. You won't be able to put it on snooze and, be snoozing all morning, but it'll force you to get up and, turn off the alarm. But also too, instead of checking what's going on Facebook first thing, or, getting a tweet about some random thing that's happening in the world, you just use those 15 minutes, just giving gratitude, writing out a gratitude list, using those 15 minutes to just really plan your day and just go inside versus being, starting off your day being like stressed out about everybody else's issues. And I know it might be a little bit difficult because we love our phones so much, and we get a little high like every time the phone goes bing, 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 and it makes us feel like we're important and that, life is great because everybody's like wanting to touch base with us. But it's just important to take some time for ourselves and use those first 15 minutes of the day, for you. Another thing that I'd like us to do is eat foods that are in their natural states, because we don't realize how addicted we are to sugars. And so the manufacturers and people who process and manufacture foods, they take advantage of our love for sugar, and so they add sugars to a lot of the foods that we consume. So you would find added sugars to things like your pasta, your pastas, your ketchups, your cornflakes. I know we love our cornflakes, but actually cornflakes isn't really that healthy for you. It's overly processed, and the number 2 ingredient on there is sugar. So you're actually just consuming a lot of sugar. Things that you won't even think that sugar is added to, there's sugar in those foods. And so it causes us to have these sugar addictions. And also too, sugar is actually a lot more addictive than cocaine is. We don't realize that. And if you're obese, and because you're using a lot of sugar, it's actually 7 times more harmful to you than smoking a pack of cigarettes a day. So just be careful and be mindful of the amount of sugars that you're consuming and that you're getting to your foods. And, just check on that. And if you're eating foods, if it doesn't grow on a tree, if it doesn't grow in a tree, if it doesn't run in the fields, if it doesn't swim in the sea, or it doesn't fly in the air, you probably shouldn't be eating it. I mean, I don't remember seeing a field of donuts, growing. And, we actually consume a lot of the white poisons. The white poisons are like your white sugars, your white flour, your white salt. So if we could reduce our consumption of those, then it would actually help in terms of us being a lot more healthier and also being a lot more radiant. I see a raised hand on Wells' iPad, so I'm going to lower your hand and unmute you in case you have a question. Do you have a question, or that was just from before? No? Okay, so we'll continue. So I'll unmute everyone back again. So anyone have any questions so far? Any concerns? Is this making sense? Can I see a thumbs up if it's making sense? Okay, good. Great. And so, yeah, if we could just reduce the amount of processed foods that we're eating and eating cleaner carbohydrates. So like if you're going to be eating foods like a baked sweet potato would be better than a baked white potato, because in terms of the glycemic index, it's actually slower to process the sugars in your digestive system. So things like that, if you're eating cleaner carbohydrates, then it would definitely make a difference in terms of your health and in terms of your wellness. Also, in terms of juicing and smoothies, if you start off your day eating something healthy, then the likelihood of continuing eating healthy throughout the day would be a lot higher. And also too, they've done studies and how we start off our day in terms of what we eat and how we eat makes a complete difference in terms of how we feel throughout the day and in terms of our IQ levels. So if you start off your day eating something healthy, it actually shows that your IQ level goes up and it makes you a lot smarter throughout the day. Does that make sense? Yeah? Great. Also, one of the things I wanted to talk about and touch base on as well was exercise. And there's some exercises that I'll share with you in terms of things that you can do to work your stomach, like different squats and different exercises that you could use to reduce your belly fat. But one of the things I'd like to say about exercise is some of us actually over-exercise, meaning like women, strength toning and strength training is really important in terms of lifting weight. But some exercises, the exercises you do, I would recommend doing exercises that you actually like doing and that you feel joyful doing. So I don't want you to feel like, oh my God, it's 5:30, I have to go to the gym, I have to do this silly exercise, and I don't really want to do this. Because if you start off with that attitude and feeling like it's something that you have to do, the chances of you continuing to do it is going to be less likely. So what I'd like to do is have it where that you feel excited about what you're doing, you feel excited about the exercise program and the exercise regimen that you're taking part of. So for women, we actually do better in terms of things like dancing and stretches because we're very fluid, that's just the way we evolved. Adding some strength exercises to it is really helpful. But do things with the spirit of, this is what I choose to do. This is what I want to do. So instead of saying, oh, I have to get up and go exercise, say, you know what? I love myself and I want to go ahead and exercise because exercising makes me feel vibrant. Exercising makes me feel really, really healthy. And so I'm going to choose to do that. Also, in terms of choosing to eat different foods, instead of saying, oh, Merle say I can't have this and I can't have that and I can't have this, turn the wording around. Say, you know what? I'm not going to be having these overly processed foods because this is going to make me, feel sluggish. So I am not going to have it. I'm choosing to choose a healthy option versus saying, when you come from the spirit of I choose to do something versus I have to do something, instead of being in victim mode, you are in power mode. You're in more of a I can do it mode. And with that mentality, the chances of you moving forward and doing it is higher than you coming from the victim mode and the victim consciousness. Someone's asking, is yoga good for belly fat? Yes, it definitely is. And just movement is good, just moving your body. You don't have to move for an hour a day. Exercise is good. But once you move your body and you're doing exercise that's helpful and vibrant, and we'll discuss more of those in the modules, then, you know, that's what I'd like to see happen for you. Now I'm going to go, we only have half an hour, so I'm going to go through a little bit in terms of the program that I'll be offering from Radiant Health, from Belly Fat to Radiant Health. And it's going to come into 6 different modules. Now the program starts on Monday, so on Monday you'll get your first module. But in module 1, we will talk about accessing your body's wisdom. And our bodies are extremely wise. And a lot of times, like in my case, I gave my power away to the doctor because, you know, the person came with the doctor title behind their name. And I'm not suggesting that doctors are bad. What I'm suggesting is that you have a lot of innate wisdom, and that I'd like you to be able to tap into that wisdom more and use your God-given intuition to help you to move forward and make different choices. So we'll go into that in the first module and just getting you clear on your reason why and develop a proper mindset in terms of getting started on this process. Then in the second module, I'll be sending you like different recipes, different things you can do in terms of healing in your health. In module 3, I'll be sending you different recipes as well. Now in module 4, I'm going to talk about different ways in terms of helping you to do different exercises. So we'll talk, it's about being fit and moving for life. That's module 4. Then in module 5, we'll talk about getting rid of the gunk. I was actually going to say crap, but I thought gunk sounded much more fun. So getting rid of the gunk is different ways to get your colon to work. We'll talk about different therapies in terms of just having your colon work better, which we'll talk about colonics and colon hydrotherapies and just different ways in terms of getting your colon to work better, including different foods and different things you can do for that. And in the last module, we will talk about developing a long-lasting, sustainable result and giving your body that love that it needs. You know, different ways in terms of creating accountability for yourself, making you accountable, and honoring and loving your body. So that's what the modules will be covering, and that's what that's going to be about. So that's what the 6 modules will cover. Now, I'm just starting out in terms of these master classes. And so I wanted to offer the program. The program's $99, but I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna offer it at a really discounted price. So I'm discounting it at a price of $27, and I'll put the link in the chat so that you could, you'd be able to access it. So everyone should be able to see that. So if you go to meryltracygalloway.com to the store and /radiant, then you'll be able to see the program. But it's 6 modules, and you'll get a different module every like 3 or 4 days. So that's what we will be going through, and I'm hoping you join me on that journey. So if anyone has any questions, I'll open up the, I'll unmute you, and then you can just ask me any questions. Or if you have any questions, you can just type it in the chat. Does anyone have any questions? Before I go, I just want to go through a couple of things again. Remember to put your water on your bedside table. You know, it's really important that you consume a lot of water. Try and consume foods that are also very hydrating, like your cucumbers, your watermelons, etc. Someone has a question? You're gonna have 15 minutes. No? Okay, it's just background noise. If you have a question as well, you could, I'm just gonna mute everyone just to get rid of the background noise. But if you have a question, there's 3 little buttons on your screen if you're looking at a computer, and it gives you the ability to mute and unmute yourself. Yeah, so remember to drink your water. Also, in terms of your phone, you want to try and not sleep with it next to your bedside, because the electromagnetic rays from it actually interrupts your sleep, so your sleep isn't as restful. And also those little beeps coming in the middle of the night actually makes your sleep interrupted, and not having a proper night's sleep actually affects our health and our stress levels a lot. Also, too, in terms of stress, you know, you want to reduce your stress levels, do some gratitudes in the morning and different things like that. And that would also help you to start off your day just feeling a lot more vibrant and feeling a lot more in control and in charge of your health and in charge of your life. Any questions, concerns? No questions? Everybody understood what I was saying? Any questions about the program that I'll be offering? Also, too, as part of the, for those of us who are going to be part of the program, I'll also send you a link as well. So you'll get, as a bonus, you'll get a 15-minute call with me where we'll go through one-on-one in terms of questions about your health that I can answer. We'll also set up a
microphone is mute.
Well, is that a question or someone? It's just background noise. I'm also going to set up a private Facebook group where, you know, it'll help to keep you accountable and answer your questions as well.
Okay, girls, time's up.
Okay. All right. So if no one has any questions, then I am going to, I'll stay on the line for a few minutes. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask me those. For those of you that need to go, I did promise it'll just be about half an hour long. So thank you for taking the time to join me on your lovely Saturday, and enjoy your Easter weekend. So you could feel free to jump off the call now if you don't have any questions, or you could just stay on and answer, you know, ask any questions that you would like.
Hi, Merle.
Hi.
As a vegan, how does your plan work?
Well, I'm mainly vegan as well. So what I'll do is I'll be sending recipes and different information in terms of things you can do and different vegan foods you can eat that are high in protein, because we have a myth that you can only get protein from animal sources. And actually, I don't have a problem with people eating animal products. But what I recommend is that when you eat animal products that are organic. So like for me, for us living in Montserrat, most of the animals that run around are organic anyway. So eating goats or eating cows that are grown on Montserrat, that's not a problem. But if you live in the US or in Europe or other places like that, those animals are injected with a lot of hormones to make them grow faster, and also with a lot of chemicals. And because they're so injected with all those hormones, you're getting those chemicals and those hormones as well, which makes it difficult for your body to process those things. What I recommend is actually eating as close as possible to our ancestors. Manon, you have a question? Okay, let me unmute you, or you could just let me unmute you. Okay, Manon?
No.
Yeah?
Hi.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Hey, okay. Thanks for joining me on the call.
Thank you. I enjoyed your presentation, by the way.
Thank you.
My question was, you were talking about water, consumption of water, and I was just wondering, is ginger water good to drink also?
Yes, you could infuse your water with things like ginger, turmeric. Ginger is actually very good in terms of digestion. Ginger is actually really cleansing. It's a really good thing to use. It's a good root to add to just even foods when you're cooking it, because it helps in terms of just making you feel a lot more settled, especially if you eat something that's not really, you know, in your best interest. So add, you know, just cut little slices of ginger, you add those to your water. Even the moringa I spoke about, you can infuse your water with that as well. And that's really helpful.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
Hi, Merle.
Hi.
I have some moringa bush that I brought from the Caribbean, and basically, I've been grinding them and added them into my my food, like, and I like make tea with them. So how good would you say that the moringa is? I know there's a lot of things that have been said about it, but from your point of view, how good would you say that the moringa is?
Moringa is one of my favorite things to use. Moringa is excellent. Use it in its fresh form if you can. If not, the powdered form as a second alternative is really, really good for you. So continue doing that. You're doing great. So continue using your moringa. Another thing I would recommend for you as well is If you're just starting out with moringa, don't overdo it because it's very healing and it's very cleansing. So if you take too much, then it could cause like a healing crisis, meaning that you may be going to the bathroom a little bit more often than you would want to. But yeah, it's really good for you. So keep doing that.
Okay.
Great. Any other questions?
Yeah, I have another question for you.
Sure, go on.
You're talking about moringa. Where do we get this moringa? I don't have any here. So
I'll point out several places you could find it on island. If you're going by Rams, there's a tree right outside Rams before you turn down to what's that little bar called? It's at the corner of Rams.
Nance's River, you mean?
Yes, River? There's this tree there. Also, too, if you're coming up by Davy Hill Road, right below what's the supermarket? Victor Supermarket. There's a tree right below there. Yeah, there's several trees in Salem. I have a tree. If you need seeds, the seeds grow really, really easily. You could actually start it in a pot. For those of you who live other places besides Montreal, you actually could grow it in your greenhouse inside your house, or just get a pot and just grow it. And if you keep trimming it, it'll grow fine. Just make sure it gets sunlight. I mean, it won't grow to a huge tree as it does here, but you can just plant a seed and it grows quite nicely.
So it's the leaf you're talking about.
All parts of the plant are really good for you. Yeah, the seed's really good for you as well. They actually make the moringa oil, which is actually quite a good healing oil to put on your skin. So you could use that as well. But the flowers are good for you. The seeds are good for you. The pods, you could use those like string beans and cook those as string beans. So all parts of the plant are really, really good for you.
Oh, okay.
And the leaves, you boil them like tea?
You don't want to boil them. You want to steep it. So what you do is you put the leaves in your cup and then you add the water on top of it, because you don't really want to kill all the nutrients.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much. By the way, the flower, is the flower like a light purplish color?
No, it's white.
Yeah.
It's a white.
It's white. Okay.
Yeah, it's white. If you have questions about the plant and you can't find any, just send me a message and I'll next time you come by for breakfast, then I'll give you some.
Okay, that's great.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
Yeah, I have one.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, are you providing any alternative? I wish I was back in Montserrat because, that's where the good field is. But do you have any alternatives for those of us elsewhere?
Alternatives in terms of what?
So, for example, like you mentioned, the moringa, so on, so on. So some of the alternative foods that we might not be.
Yeah, what I'll do as well in the modules that I'll send out, I'll have different things you can take. I just mentioned moringa because I love it and it's so healing. If you can't get the fresh moringa, the powder is just as, it's your next best thing. But cilantro you could get in the supermarket, and that's really good. You could use celery. You could use things like celery juice in terms of detoxifying and healing, and it's actually really good in terms of helping with your bones. So I'll be sending information like that as well, if you'd like to learn more and be part of the program.
Okay, that sounds fine. That sounds great.
Any other questions? Okay, hi, go ahead, Luke.
Yes. How about aloe?
Aloe's are really good. What I'd recommend is I normally add it to my my smoothies, but aloe is medicine, right? And so I don't recommend using it every single day. Like some people use it every day without problem. For my body, I can't tolerate aloes every day. So what I would do is I would listen to my body, which is what I'll get into in module 1. But I would use aloes like 1 week on, and maybe like for another 3 weeks or another month, I won't use it at all. But to make your juice taste better, peel the green thing off so peel off the skin first and just use the white gel inside, and then add that to your smoothie. And you can just try it and see, because Like everybody's
It
body is
tastes
different.
horrible.
I'm not into like a one size fit all, but just try it for a week or two and then see how your body feels. Try it for a month on and see, but because there's so many good healing things locally that I have access to, then I choose different things at different times. And then I'm also a big proponent of seasonal eating. So if you eat things in season, then your body does better. And the way I look at life is God gave us different plants at different times because our bodies have different needs at different times. And so what I do is I just mix up what I use and use it seasonally.
Thank you very much. This stuff tastes so horrible.
If you peel
Yes.
off the green part, it'll help. There's also a yellowish, greenish thing that comes out when you peel the leaf off, and that part actually makes it really bitter. But also too, our body actually needs different flavors. So our bodies actually need salt, bitter, sour, sweet to be balanced. But we've been trained to just want sweet and salt. Yeah. But actually, if you're getting the whole spectrum of those things, then our bodies actually become more healthy.
What I've done, I cut it up in pieces, put it in the bottom of a glass of juice or something, just throw it down my throat so I don't taste it, and it's not as bad.
That makes sense. They say if you're going to eat a frog, although I don't know why you'd want to eat a frog, just do it first thing in the morning. So that's the way of just doing it. Great. Thomas, do you have another question? I saw your hand raised.
No, that was from before.
Okay, so I'll lower your hand then.
It was flat thing.
Great. Any other questions? All right. Well, I really appreciate you taking the time to spend your Saturday afternoon or evening with me. I was a little bit nervous at first. You may have noticed I was a little bit stumbly, but once I got going, I thought I was okay. But I'm really passionate about, just making sure that you get all the nutrients and your body works well. Because with health, you can do anything. You could have, without proper health, I know when I was ill, that was all I cared about. I was so distracted and I couldn't focus on doing my work in the world and doing my mission. And I think, if our bodies are working and we're well, then we could go forward and do what we were intended to do on this world and on this planet. And so that's why I'm so passionate about getting us to really, go forward to our missions and, create a world where we are happy and joyful and doing what we're meant to do. So I just want to thank you for joining me today. I honestly really appreciate your time. And if you have any questions or concerns, you know my email, so use it. All right, thank you. Bye.